Hi guys, Alex here. Welcome back to Girl Talk. I've got a little bit of mess and a little bit of drama today for you guys. For today's video, we're going to go ahead and do a Shantopolis world update. And boy, the past 24 hours in Shantopolis have been nothing short of amusing. I actually did this whole video under the impression that she was going back to Canada. I mean, that's what she said yesterday. I started working on this a few hours ago. And then she recently came on with a video saying that she is, in fact, not. So I had to redo this intro, but in the first part of the video, we are going to be discussing her live stream and the video where she says she's going back to Canada under the impression that she is, in fact, going back to Canada. And then towards the end, I will fill you guys in on her brand new video where she says that she is staying put in Kuwait. We've got a pretty long one today, so just keep all of that in mind. This is almost like a 24-hour impulsive breakdown. But there's one common theme here. She can't stay in Kuwait. Let's just get right into it. Shall we? All right, you guys, welcome back to our Shantopolis World Update. The last time that we checked in was on a live stream. She has been recently pumping out these mukbangs, doing a lot of live streams and dabbling in gaming, doing her Phasmophobia streams where occasionally she will drop in a little teeny tiny drop of tea, giving people an incentive to go over there, right? Because otherwise, I don't know why anyone would sit through a Foodie Beauty gaming stream. If you want to watch someone play games, there's plenty of creators that do a much better job than Foodie Beauty. She doesn't even do her niche very good, which I would say is mukbangs, right? She can't even get her spread looking right. It never looks so good. But she also recently did a weigh-in that came in around 159 kilograms or 351 pounds. Nobody's really buying that though. There was a jump cut in the video and she wasn't even on the scale when she read out that reading. Well, she didn't read it out, but you could see that her feet were not on the scale in the clip that she showed. We can see pictures of her in the past versus how she looks now, and something's just not adding up. Also, that scale only goes up to 180 kilograms, so it could be that it is strained at this point and it's not delivering an accurate reading. She needs a talking scale or even some sort of bariatric scale. The talking scale is bariatric, I guess. It goes up to 550, right? I did want to announce a correction from our previous Girl Talk video. I said that she border hopped in Saudi Arabia. We did mention this on the live stream, which is what Pete's said, that she would go to Saudi Arabia, but she actually goes to Qatar and takes a plane. That's what she said. I mean, you can believe it or not. It doesn't really matter. Either way, she was border hopping and she might still be doing that to this day. There has been a lot of speculation recently regarding Salah, and she has taken it upon herself to joke about it as well, you know, saying that he's in a different apartment or he has two wives and she's just one of them, or he has this double life. He's not living there. He has his own unit, etc., etc. So she has been kind of playing along and joking about this as well. But I find that if we look to the past, a lot of the times when she is joking about these kinds of things, there is a nugget of truth there. I'm not saying that Salah has multiple wives. I don't really see him as super desirable, right? But he could be living in a different location, and that wouldn't surprise me at all, or talking to other women online. In regards to their marriage, she talked about how they got married via a loophole. It all sounded very shady and like she didn't even know what was going on, and maybe she didn't. I'm sure a lot of the paperwork was done in Arabic and Salah just had her sign on the dotted line. So perhaps she doesn't even know what's going on. But Chantal, or Miriam, continues to maintain that they are indeed married. She has vaguely recently alluded to some sort of weight loss journey starting, but she continues to eat massive portions almost every day. Moving on. In her most recent live called Live Dinner, she says that things are bad. She doesn't go out with Salah. Like, he'll ask her if she wants to go out with him for the day, if they want to go somewhere, do something. She did a lot of things when she first got to Kuwait. She showed us the Kuwait Towers, the mall, the beach. She would go out a lot. And even on the couples channel, which, speaking of the couples channel, it has been renamed from Salah and Chantal to Salah and Miriam. I don't know why she's insisting on this because nobody really calls her Miriam. Is she going to have people in her real life call her Miriam? Or is that just a new name that she's using on the internet in an attempt to escape her social media footprint? Or is she actually going to make people call her that in real life? Like, Mom, call me Miriam. Well, Miriam isn't doing anything and complains that her YouTube job is so mentally draining and she's tired because having to do her work on YouTube and the household chores are just too much. Oh my goodness. Like, this just is so out of touch with reality. It kind of reminds me recently, Hassan Abi was called out for a statement that he made saying that a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you in the same way that streaming 9 hours a day does. I think a big difference there is nobody is forcing him to stream for 9 hours a day, right? And I don't really have anything against Hassan. I just don't think that this came out right. And I'm kind of getting the same vibe from Chantal. A lot of people work 40 hours a week at a job and do their household chores, girl. You just have to eat on camera, do bare minimum effort to edit it. All you do is like write a couple words on a thumbnail. You don't even use like multiple pictures very often. She's not putting that much work into these videos. And the main content has been so poor lately. It's just her eating and not talking about very much at all. How hard is it to just press record on an iPhone? Oh wait, she needs the filters on a Samsung and eat your dinner. It's not that hard. Trust me. But things have gotten so difficult for her. She's in the exact same place as Hungry Fat Chick. Candy has said, it's difficult for me to put on a happy face and sit here and eat this food for you guys. I don't think she wants to do YouTube anymore, but she really doesn't have a choice. If she wants her income to keep coming in that she needs to live her life, she didn't save any of the money that she made in the Natter saga. That would have been a very good cushion for her to have right now. She can barely do this and keep up with her household chores. I mean, we know in the Natter saga, her household was a complete mess, but she was able to keep up the live streams going. That's all she did at that time. There was no videos. It was just live streaming pretty much her whole life. And she would just sit there and like melt away on the schmedibles, barely saying anything when she could have been cleaning her house. Miriam admits that she's dealing with clinical depression right now. She does take medication that she just gets over the counter in Kuwait. I believe it was something that she was prescribed in Canada, but in Kuwait, you don't need a script. So her husband just picks it up from the pharmacy. She needs to leave the house. I think that's a really big issue here. She needs to move around. They do have a gym in her building, so she doesn't even have to leave the house. She could just walk like really slow on that treadmill just as something to get that body moving, because the more that she lays around, the worse it's going to get. Kuwait's not going to work out for her. If she stays there in the next 3 months, she will be bedbound. Now we'll get to where she's going later, but Miriam says that we don't see what she deals with. Like what, girl? You clean the house and you eat on the internet for money. Sometimes you turn on a live stream. What exactly are you dealing with? I know that she has pain from the sciatica. Is that what she's talking about? Or are there other stressors in her marriage? Could it be that? Regardless, I think that she spends a lot of time laying on the couch on TikTok or just laying in bed. She will do the household chores, but only because she needs to do them or Salah will will be unhappy with her. And I don't know how he treats her behind the scenes. That's a really big question. He could be firm with her, maybe, or maybe he just lets her do whatever she wants. If she doesn't do the dishes, does he tell her, can you do those dishes, babe? Or like, you didn't get those dishes done. And then will she go do them? How is that dynamic behind the scenes? Because yeah, she's right. We don't see it. Chantal is most certainly terminally online. She always knows exactly what's going on. If a reaction channel has drama, towards the end of the live stream, she becomes more preachy, talking about how she's going to get closer to God and help people. Girl, you got to help yourself first. I mean, these are just delusions at this point. She wants to reject earthly temptations, but she really doesn't make any effort to. Let's move on to the main event, which is the Applebee's mukbang, the beginning of the end. So Foodie Beauty begins by kind of lashing out at reaction channels. This is kind of like funny, but not really important. She shows a large spoon and says that this is not a serving spoon, guys, because everyone calls her spoons serving spoons. It could be. It's bigger than a regular spoon that you would use to eat. I would use that to scoop out like mashed potatoes, maybe ice cream if you don't have one of those ice cream scoops. Chantal says that she has a huge announcement, but for some reason she took that out of the thumbnail. So what she says is, pretty sure, takes a couple bites, that I'm going back to Canada. Dun, dun, dun. So there you have it, folks. She's going back to Canada. Case closed. We were all right. Kuwait is over. She's miserable. So that's it for Kuwait, guys. Show's over, folks. I'm out. Bye. I think that we can tell she's absolutely miserable in Kuwait. People have been saying that for a while now. And she, for the most part, confirms that she is miserable. Part of the reason is, in my opinion, she has little to no autonomy. She can't drive. She can't really go anywhere. She doesn't have that choice to go out on her own. And it's not that that's a law in Kuwait. It's just that she doesn't want to, and she doesn't have a license to drive there. What's going to happen when she leaves in regards to the bills? Because Salah has a much more upgraded lifestyle than he had when she originally got there. She claims that he pays for the Cherry Tiggo, which is their new car, but can he afford the Cherry Tiggo and the new apartment, the beachside apartment, at the same time? Or is she going to help him out even when she is in Canada? I mean, if she plans on going back, I guess she would help him out. I get the feeling that this is the end of that marriage. It's not going to work out if she is on the other side of the world. She's not going to get any better in Kuwait, and she admits to that because she doesn't have access to resources. And she should have just stayed in Canada when she was there in December. She should have dumped Salah after the BS when he was talking to one of her beezers, fantasizing with one of her beezers. Like, ew, can you imagine if you're a social media person and your man started hooking up with one of your supporters? Well, talking to at least one of your supporters. And if they had money, if Kaibala or Salah had enough money, she was going to fly out. Wouldn't that have been something if she came back to Kuwait and there they were, snuggled up in the bed? Oh my goodness. And this is Kuwait. Adultery is a big no-no. And that is one of the biggest sins in Islam. So I think she should have dumped him and stayed in Canada, or at least put this marriage on pause. Say, you figure out how to make it without me. You know, put him in the doghouse for a little bit at least. I think that she would have stayed in Canada in December and she would have still been there if he didn't cheat, because she ran back there to pull the leash tighter so she wouldn't lose her man, so she wouldn't lose her marriage and her fake happy life over in Kuwait that she was projecting to the YouTube audience. But all that really fell apart. All of that completely fell apart with this Kybella Poogate scandal. We have not seen Salah's face since all we've heard was his voice. She does say that she misses family as part of the reason why she wants to go home. Anyone would. Miriam says that her sleep schedule is so messed up that she went to bed at 8:30 in the morning, 8:30 a.m., woke up at 10 p.m. It's the entire day plus some. Like, that is a vampire schedule if I've ever seen one. If she wants to get better, she could not be sleeping from 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Like, that is crazy. Her family is going to help her when she gets back to Canada, because they worry for her, and they'll take her to her appointments. She can't afford healthcare in Kuwait because she has to pay out of pocket. And it's not just her food problem and mental health. Her leg is not doing well at all in regards to this sciatica. She needs to get an MRI. I mean, how much does that cost without insurance? I imagine a lot. With all these health issues continuing to stack up, she really just can't afford it in Kuwait. And she realizes that this situation is so dire, she does have to make that move back to Canada. Her health is in the toilet. I mean, who would have guessed that, right? How did she think that she would get by at her big age with her big problems with limited access to healthcare? The whole arc, the marriage, everything was so impulsive from her. And she continues to make things worse by spiraling with the takeout food. This was one of her biggest portions recently, although she didn't finish it, which was very surprising. She didn't eat that much of this food at all. I'm sure she'll finish it later when the camera turns off, right? After she goes to sleep. She wants to lay down. Like, this is hard for her just to do a mukbang. I wonder what Salah does all day. Does he go out to work? Can he afford this lifestyle? I don't think he can afford this lifestyle on his own. The marriage, though, the writing's on the wall. This marriage is over. She wasn't able to get him to Canada in time, and she wasn't able to provide the lifestyle that he really wanted, which involved traveling and going out. She can't do that. He might have a much nicer home life and car, but it's just not enough, especially for someone who's 29, 30 years old, not being able to go out and travel when you want to, not being able to go and take your wife to the store. Like, you have to do everything for this woman as if she is your aging mother or grandma. He is in some way a caretaker of this woman. I wouldn't be surprised if he washes her, he gets the groceries. When she goes back to Canada, he's not going to behave. He's going to be talking to other women. And I think at least he's going to be a little bit smarter about it this time. Maybe he won't talk to people in Chantal's community. I mean, how ridiculous can you be? I'm sure there will be women, thirsty women, that come out of the woodwork and try to hit up Salah while Foodie Beauty is away. We shall see if he is dumb enough to take that bait. She is going to have to be away for a couple of years, I believe, if she wants to actually help herself. Although there always is that possibility that she simply pretends that this video didn't happen and she stays in Kuwait and pushes her luck for a few more months. But she doesn't have a few more months to push her luck. If she does end up bedbound in Kuwait, well, I don't think she could ever recover from that. All right, y'all, I have to say, she got me. She got me good because I finished filming the entire video. We were just sitting down to edit and she hit me with this premiere. And everything that I spoke about, her going back to Canada, well, it wasn't going to happen. But I still think that it might happen because she says in the video, this is my final answer. And then she says, well, maybe it's not, or something along those lines. So all of this is really up in the air. She could still go back to Canada. She might just stay in Kuwait. Let's talk about this video. She has another huge announcement and a gigantic portion mukbang. Yay. Miriam begins by showing her huge spread of food. You know, it happens all the time. Can she not talk about anything without food? It's like her comfort blanket. She can't do a video where she just sits down and talks about what's going on in her life. She used to be able to do that, but now it's like she can't. She says that people will not understand where she's coming from with this. She's in a tug of war. Kuwait, Canada, East versus West. She'll miss both of her families. In Kuwait, she misses her family back home at Canada. In Canada, she misses Salah and her cat. Girl, that marriage is hanging on by a thread at this point. Sometimes she just wants to go back to being a mess. The Natter saga days where she would just roll about in her filthy house on Schmedibles, raging and playing Mario Kart. That's what she sometimes wants to go back to. She wants to stop this charade and just go back to Foodie Beauty, who I think she really is. She thinks that if she does go back to Canada, she will do just that. And that's what I'm gathering. One of the reasons she doesn't want to go. You don't have to go back to that. What you really need to do is take Salah and Julia to Canada. It's the only way at this point. She thinks that she can maybe afford the Kuwait healthcare, but she can't even get a physician in Kuwait. Girl, if you set a damn appointment, eventually the time will come, right? Geez. She can't even set an appointment. Maybe if she would have set one like 6 months ago, it would be tomorrow. I know it takes a long time, even here in the US sometimes. She's very torn between Kuwait and Canada. This is where I'm feeling it is possible she will go back. I don't know how she's torn because it's going to be bedbound and stuck in Kuwait or life in Canada where you can do whatever you want. Maybe Salah is forcing her to stay to keep up his lifestyle, keeping her eating for money. It's twisted and sick, but I wouldn't put it past him. Look at the messages that we saw. That was certainly twisted and sick. It would be on brand at this point. She's going to stick it out there in Kuwait. If she does go back to Canada, she fears that she will be burdened with a legal battle with French Fried Girl, FFG. Girl, who's following the lawsuit? Nobody. You would have to be the one doing it. So now you're putting this on FFG? You're not in danger, girl. Stop it. She can't imagine life without her supportive husband. Girl, he's leading you to an early grave. Is this your choice, really, to stay in Kuwait? He might be brainwashing her. One thing she did admit to is that he assured her that he could pay for the healthcare. So obviously he wants her to stay there. I think that that's what it is. This isn't necessarily her choice. He is saying things to her to get her to stay because he knows that he can't afford that lifestyle. She can't sponsor him in Canada because she has bankruptcies. She didn't say that in the video, but I guess that's why they're not just all going to Canada, right? Because she needs that healthcare system. Miriam is disappointed in herself for being impulsive, but doesn't say what she means by that. Is she impulsive about moving to Kuwait in the first place a year and a half ago? Or was she impulsive by saying that she's going back to Canada? Chantal says that when they're not together, he's video chatting her, sometimes sending pictures. So you don't trust him, do you? I mean, people wouldn't, right? That certainly causes trust issues when your man's talking to another woman, huh? She also kind of outs herself, saying, you can't marry another wife if you're a broke ass. So Salah is broke? That's why he can't afford to marry another wife? So this part was weird. She's basically ranting about how people speculate based on what she says. Like when she said she was going to Canada. She's mad that we thought that it could actually happen. You said it. So don't believe a word that you say. Got it. Barely did anyway. She's staying to stay closer to her faith, and it's cheaper. She does even say that fast food and takeout is cheaper as one of the reasons. We don't understand why she wants to stay in the Middle East because we don't understand the Middle East because we're Westerners. Girl, stop saying the Middle East. It's Kuwait. She says that women are free. They can do whatever they want. Yeah, in Kuwait, not the Middle East. Hello, she really needs to learn more about where she is living. It's not the same. Kuwait has been westernized in a way. It seems as though the reaction channels have learned more about Kuwait and just the Middle East in general than she has. And she's the one living there. She actually made fun of us for researching Kuwait. Yeah, if I want to talk about something, I'm going to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Unless you flip the script at the last minute. but she'll go back to Canada once a year to see her family, maybe to see Pete. I believe that if she doesn't leave Kuwait, it's game over for her. Bedbound in 3 months. She's not going to get out of that. If she is forced into hospitalization in Kuwait, how is she going to be able to afford that? It probably doesn't cost as much as a bed in the US, but it's still going to be pretty expensive, more than she makes, and she won't even be able to make videos unless she does hospital mukbangs every day. Could you imagine? I could see that happening. Updates and mukbangs. I don't know what happened in this past 24 hours that made her change her mind, but I do think it does have to do with Salah, and he is whispering in her ear. He does not want to lose his cash. He does not want to have to sacrifice his new lifestyle, even if it comes at her expense, which it really is. But what are you going to do if she's no longer here? If things get so bad that she's not even able to produce content, to produce income for you guys, are you going to be able to support her then? Her medical bills, the food that she's still going to want to eat no matter what? Yeah, you're not really thinking ahead, are you, Salah? I have to believe that she just can't get him to Canada for whatever reason, if it is the bankruptcy, if it's something else, because that's what makes the most sense at this point. Maybe she just doesn't want people to think that he's using her for citizenship. But what does it freaking matter, girl? You need the healthcare in Canada. Yeah, stay, girl. Stay. See how that ends for you. All right, you guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Quite an interesting 24-hour breakdown situation type deal. Should I stay? Should I go? I feel like both doors are open, despite her saying this is my final decision. It's always her final decision. You know, this is the last time I will address this. How many times has she said that about FFG, BBJ, and she always talks about them again. So realistically, both doors are open. Which one will she choose? Bedbound in Kuwait, stuck in the apartment, or will she choose to go back to Canada? It is going to be tough for her to make it. I mean, the rent prices just in these past couple of years have skyrocketed. It would be easier if she brought Salah along. He could get a full-time job somewhere. I think that they could make this work. So, what'll it be? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and I will, of course, catch you guys in the next one. All right. Bye, everyone.